Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is at FeelThePaynePW, or Nick Payne if you prefer, and you're watching my 37th episode here on F1 2020, My Team Career. Obviously, it's Season 2 now, so if you haven't checked out my previous episodes, please go do so now. And the last race was at the Russian Grand Prix, where there was actually a really tasty battle between my teammate in Leclerc and his old teammate in Sebastian Vettel. And also, that just gave us a chance to pull ahead and create a gap as I made two nice little overtakes on Perez and Russell after the first pit stop, and did contain the lead all the way to the end of the race to win the Russian Grand Prix, to solidify our position at the top of the World Drivers' Championship. And obviously it's very close at the top now. We are in front, but I do think Max Verstappen can still sort of creep up on us if we have a bad result, so we do need to keep performing and do need to keep obviously trying to get as much out of the car as possible. And as you can see, we've gone through to the next weekend and we've got a chance to do some activities. So we're going to do the chassis equipment upgrade, the sponsor event, and we've still got quite a bit of time left, so we're going to do the weight training, the aero department, and then the driver promotion filming as well, just to get as much activities on the board as possible. 11 out of the 12 days, so not perfect, but still enough for what I want. And we've actually got a chance to actually make some upgrades and some car development here for the powertrain unit and also the chassis. We're also going to add, just for a standard, we're not going to try rushing it through, it don't really matter either way, but regardless, we're still trying to progress the car as much as possible, keep as much investing into the car as possible. And we've actually got a chance to do an invitational event now, and as you can see, it's at the Brazil Grand Prix, or at the Brazilian track of Interlagos, should I say. We do that, and we do actually get the 150k and the acclaim for doing so and completing it correctly. But unfortunately, we got a chance to go for a second season break now, which is quite weird considering there's only 2 races left. But we're going to go through. We've got some failed components in the aerodynamic system, but so that is unfortunate. But other departments have come through with the upgrades, so we are able to keep on going. And as we accept and go through all the activities and such, we're finally at the Mexican Grand Prix, and we can go ahead and go through. But unfortunately for us, just like it was last year, we've been stung with some reliability right before we go to the race weekend. And as you can see, the energy store is wore to bits, and if I want to fight for this world championship with these 2 last races, I'm going to need all the help I can get. So unfortunately, we may have to do it all over again, just like we did last year, going from the 22nd driver on the grid to P1, surprisingly, due to the safety car helping us out. We may have to try to find a way to do it all over again, because we're going to bunch up all the penalties. We haven't had a grid penalty this year due to a liability, but we finally do. Now let's see how we get on in qualifying. And as we come onto the grid now to start our first qualifying lap here at the Mexican Grand Prix, open the DRS as wide as possible down this long main straight here, the longest straight on the circuit. As we go into the chicane, we sort of cross the corner quite dangerously there, close to the track limits, but we do get away with it. Go into the second DRS zone out of the 3, break at the 100-metre board, go fastest in sector 1 so far, roll the car around into what starts off sector 2, into this nice little part of the circuit. I do enjoy driving through here. Just before we go into the left-hander here, before the S's in this Mexican circuit, as we come around into the S's, try to get right onto the apex, but unfortunately we do miss it. And that will cost us a little bit of time there, maybe a 10th and a half there, as we go into the braking zone, cut the corner quite massively. But as we go through to the stadium section, we've still got a chance of getting quite high up into the grid as we go into the final turn, into the final quarter, and we go around and we go across the line to get P3 overall, with Leclerc in first, Verstappen, our title contender, in second. Verstappen, or Vettel shall I say, goes in front of us, so we drop down to P4 in Q1. We tried to go on the medium tyres here, because obviously if we're starting at the back of the grid, due to all those grid penalties, we need to be up the field, but we can only get a P9 on our first attempt. We go across the line on the second attempt, which does obviously wear the tyre out even more, but we do go through in P5, and when we go through onto the first lap in qualifying, we do get P1, and we do improve it on a second time round on our second lap, and we do just about scrape it through. Obviously it don't really matter, but it does for obviously money reasons, so we do go through in P1. That's another pole position for Nick Payne, for Payne Racing, but we are going to be on the hard challenge of starting at the very back of the grid.
Here we go then, it's time to race in Mexico City, a place which gave Honda their first ever victory back in 1965. American Richie Ginther won from third on the grid. And what are the Honda-powered cars this year? Well, Red Bull have been going strong here in recent seasons, so can they keep that record going today? At 2,285 metres above sea level, the thin air of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez poses a unique challenge, not just to a driver's skill, but to the efficiency of their engines as well. 17 corners make up a lap of this 2.6-mile circuit, and you can expect incredible speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and overtaking too into the hard braking zones of turns 1 and turn 4. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Let's talk about the rookie. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and P2 goes to Daniel Ricciardo, a strong showing from the Australian. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Leclerc, Sebastian Vettel, and Hamilton, Kvyat, Raikkonen, Perez, and Esteban Ocon. Albon, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Gasly, Kevin Magnussen, and Giovinazzi. Stroll, De Vries, George Russell, and Nobuharu Matsushita. Norris, Sainz, Latifi, and the rookie. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
So obviously we're starting at the very back of the grid due to all the grid penalties. This is a repeat of last year. Can we do it? Is it possible? Obviously we got a lot of help from the safety car last year due to obviously having to start on the soft tyres, if you remember rightly. So obviously it may be a difficult task. Can it be done? We're going to look to try doing a one stop, because maybe then if we do the one stop, we do obviously take out a little bit of time due to the pitting. We are going to try the one stop, and we're going to see how it works. Most of the other cars, I think every other car started on the soft, so maybe it's possible. As we go to 5 red lights directly behind sides, and we're underway for the Mexican Grand Prix here. We're in the fastest car on the grid. Can we make that charge possible? We move up quite a few positions early on. 3 positions inside Latifi. We've got a few cars in front of us. In De Vries, we're going to switch it down the inside. He gives us a room, and we jump down, and we nearly make contact with Perez there. Dangerous. Very close to Perez, and nearly into the back of Ricciardo as well. Oh, Raikkonen, should I say, not Ricciardo. It's not season 1 no more. As Raikkonen in the Renault, we're going to switch it to the left, and we've got a major move on both the Renaults, and Ocon locking up on his front left there, nearly made us into contact down on the inside as we go 3 wide into that turn there. But we've got Kvyat here going slowly through that double right-hander, and we may have him into the next turn. We use a bit of overtake mode there just to see if we can get in front, and we finally do. We're up into P7 and it's only lap 1 and we're right on the tail of Hamilton, and now I am feeling really confident for the rest of this race. We're going to look to make a move here on Hamilton. Can we make it move? Unfortunately, he does cover us off, and that does actually slow us down massively as Kvyat comes back at us and does a double dive on not just me, but the 6-time world champion of Lewis Hamilton. We've run out of overtake and ARS. We're going to be right in the gap as Kvyat tried making another move on Hamilton. We're going to be right in front of Kvyat, and we're up into P7 at the end of lap 1. Can we make a move on Hamilton? Can we hold Kvyat behind us? We're looking to make a move here, using as much overtake as possible. We're going to dive it down the inside, brake just that little bit later and turn in, and we get the move done. We're up into P6 now, here on the first lap. And as you can see, Vettel and Leclerc are up ahead. Can we push away from Hamilton now on these medium tyres? But I just want to take us back to the start of the race on a different camera angle, because I just want to show you how beautiful it looks from this camera angle. Because see how close I get to breaking my front wing as I dive down into the inside at turn 1 and obviously sweeping past. I think that was Nick de Vries in front of me there, and if you look, I nearly get so close into the back of Perez, and I nearly lose my whole of my front wing there as Raikkonen and Ocon sort of jostle for position just in front of us as well. And look how close I get here as I sweep across, and it's a lovely move, and this angle is just making it look so much better as I nearly hit Ocon's front left tyre there as he locks up into that turn, and then round into the double right hander on Kvyat. It just looks so beautiful from this angle. I'd be tempted to do the whole episode in this angle, but I'm not going to do that as we go back into the action here to start lap 3. We've got Hamilton still on our tail. He's on the softs, I'm on the medium, remember, so he does have a pace advantage there. We're having to defend with all our might, with overtake, with as much rich mixture as possible. He tries it down the outside. He does force us deep, but we do stay in front on the racing line as well, and we do keep the position. But look at Hamilton right in our rear mirrors. He's right there, right on our tail, sniffing our gearbox, but we do maintain the position and we do stay in front here as we end lap 3. Hamilton is still with us. We can't catch up to the Ferrari in front, and we can't keep Hamilton behind for too long as he comes right past us with DRS engaged, of course. And we're going to look to make a move here on the outside. I was thinking inside, but I did go to the outside. And we do get the position back with a lovely dive back on our fellow Brit. And we're back up into P6 now here on lap 4. And as we end lap 4, we go fastest in the middle sector, slowest in the first and third. And Hamilton is still there with us. He's still there trying to battle with DRS. We've got to use as much overtake as we can. And he's got the move done on the inside. We're going to sweep round the outside, hopefully brake just that little bit later. We go deep into the turn, come back onto the track, and we go into the apex. I did think there may be a little bit of contact there with Lewis Hamilton as he has slowed down massively, and that's allowed us to pull into the gap where obviously into Vettel's slipstream here with DRS, with overtake. Can we make a move here? We're not using as much fuel as possible. And we're going to dive down the inside. There's another lovely move here. And we're up into P5, remember, from P22 in the matter of 7 laps here. And as we come on through, we go fastest through Sector 1, green through Sector 2, green through Sector 3. And that's another fastest lap so far as we're right on the tail of our teammate in Leclerc here on lap 10. But Leclerc peels off, goes into the pits now, gives way to us, gives us the DRS as well, so we do have a lot of speed to catch up to Bottas. And by the time we do look to catch up to Bottas here on lap 11, he peels away off into the pits, and we do take charge of this Grand Prix as we set a new fastest lap. But that's short-lived as Daniel Ricciardo does set a new fast lap as he's on the new soft tyres as we come into the pits here on lap 15. And we are still in the lead for the time being. It's just a matter of where we come out in front of people and how many cars in front of. Can we come out in front of Hamilton? If we come out in front of Hamilton, then I do think we have a good chance of winning this race as we go to the hards. Everyone else has to pit again who's on the softs and the mediums, let's be honest. They ain't going to be able to go to the race on a one stop. And we do come out in front of Lewis Hamilton back in P5. and we do have a good chance in this race as Leclerc, it's deja vu once again as Leclerc peels off into the pits. We can get DRS from him and we can move up into the positions as Bottas is now coming to the pits, and we take charge of this race once again in P1. We're up in front of everyone and we've got a blue flag back marker of Nicholas Latifi in front of us now, and we do overtake him to obviously continue on with this race, and we do have quite a massive lead to the cars ahead. We have maintained that as the fireworks go off in the stadium section here in lap 36. Round of applause, and we come across the line to do it once again, and it's a P1, a great win from us from P2 or P22 on the grid, and now we're the world champion as well. Second season in, world champion for PAYNE Racing, and I believe that's a win for the Constructors' Championship as well. As you can see, we get to do the donuts in the stadium section of Mexico. And what beautiful scenes here at the Mexican Grand Prix. What a way to win the championship. Going from P22 all the way through to P1. And you've got to say it's deserved for the second half of the season. It was a bit shaky if you remember back to the start of the season with races like Bahrain where I tried to dive and I did fail, and obviously was in charge of the race and got down to P3, and other races like Baku and obviously the DNF in the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort as well. But considering the second half of the season, I do think I have deserved it. And as you can see, I am now the world champion here at the Mexican Grand Prix for the second season of my team career. What great scenes! And as we can see here on the look at that, you've got to admire that. All the team there giving hugs and celebration, everyone applauding, everyone cheering for their new world champion, and well, let's be honest, their owner. They all think they're getting a pay rise. Let's be honest. Great scenes for us as we are the world champion. We can't be caught by Max Verstappen, who did go from P1 to P2. He did drop down due to us having such a great performance. We didn't get fastest lap due to Daniel Ricciardo setting that on the softs, but we do go from P22 to P1, so I couldn't care less. We are the world champion, and as you can see, it is impossible as Leclerc moves up into P3. So a great result for him, and hopefully he can move up into P2 if it's possible, but we'll have to see. And as you can see from the constructors standings now, we are up into P1 and we do have a sizable lead. We are constructors champion, and that's where we're going to wrap up this video. If you have enjoyed this episode, please like it. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I've been at FeelThePaynePW. I am the world champion. Goodbye.